Hello YouTube, Trinity here again with a deck profile for the One Piece card game. This is going to be one of my 4 Emperor decks. I do want to pick up Blackbeard, I think. Hoping to pick that up soon as well, because I think it's a minus Laboon. The core seems pretty cheap last I looked at it, so I might be picking that up as well. But this is a deck that I've been waiting for since the game came out, and I really enjoyed playing it. It's not that good right now. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's probably my favorite fun deck, and I did go really hard into this deck. I got the shout out to Dueling Guard. I'm not sponsored, but I got their amazing buggy deck box, and I can't wait till it ships next month. I got this wonderful playmat off eBay. As you can see, I got these beautiful buggy sleeves, and I got the old art buggy leader. And I've been really excited for this deck, so I really went hard for this deck and deck profile. That being said, I will be going over the deck. We got the leader, buggy, activate main, non-once per turn. You can discard a card from your hand, rest a 5 Dawn to play any cross-skilled character from your hand. So you kind of discard 1 and neg 1 to play any body. So you can kind of cheat out some tempo if you really want to. You got to be very careful about this because how you play this deck, because you will run out of hand size quite easily, and you're really bad in the decks that like to control the board. But if you do this right, you can get some amazing tempo going your way. So we'll ignore the leader for now and move on to the main deck. Right now, I play 4 copies of Buggy. Now, I don't have the manga rare or the other one, but I like this one personally myself. This is their 10-drop Buggy on play. Choose a character in your opponent's field and bottom deck it. If you don't control at least, I believe it's 4 other characters with 5 cost or more, this Buggy will bottom deck itself. So it's basically a red rock on a character. It's a 5 cost red rock if you use Buggy to discard. And this card will go to the bottom of your deck. So be careful when you do that. Going forward, we are getting a promo. We finally got announced that we're getting the promo Buggy next month. So that is a 3 to 4 of in the deck. So I'll say what things you want to cut for it when you're building the deck. If you really wanted to, I think you could drop Buggy to 3. But I think I'm running 4, honestly, going forward. Next, we're running 4 of my favorite card in the deck, honestly, one of them. 4 copies of Drakeul Mihawk. He is a 7,006 cost blocker. Again, he can be cheated off Buggy's leader skill. 1 play, you draw 2 and pitch 1. So it's just, it's a nice plus in the deck. And it's a really good body, and he's a cross skill. So you're running 4 of him. Next, we're playing 4 copies. And yes, this whole deck has been old arted out because it was actually pretty cheap to do so. And I just really love Buggy and Crocodile are my 2 favorite characters in One Piece. And who doesn't love Mihawk? I mean, I'm not a simp for Mihawk. I think Mihawk's cool. But Crocodile and Buggy are my favorite characters. And I like Mihawk too. So when Cross Guild became a thing, I said if they ever make a deck, I got to make this deck. And then we have my boy Crocodile on play. You can choose a Cross Guild character from your hands. Or I think it's Baroque works as well. With 5 costs or less, and you may play it. So with a 1k counter, and he plays another body. The body you're normally playing is 4 copies of Daz Bones. One of the 2 Daz Bones. Most of the time, these are the ones you're cheating out with Crocodile. And Daz Bones has a similar effect to Mihawk, where on play, you draw 2 and pitch a card. And then you have the other effect, but it doesn't really work because we don't have a leader with Baroque Works. But if you're playing a Baroque Works deck like Purple, Blue Croc, he gets 1,000 power for every event in your trash. And then this is just your standard 7k 5-drop. He's a cross guild and a Baroque work, and he's a solid card. You could probably cut this maybe going forward as well, or at least like reduce the ratios. It's one of the things you could maybe cut if you really wanted to, but I think it's staying in, honestly. Next, we'll move on to the rest of the deck. We got our 2k counters. We got Bon Clay. I'm not cutting him. I don't care. This is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. It's Mr. 2 Bon Clay. This is basically kind of a Nami tech. He's a 2k counter, and you can bottom deck like something of 2 costs or less, and he bottom decks himself. Honestly, it's kind of nice to get rid of those Namis in your opponent's board and kind of screw over the Nami players, which one of the only other decks I have is a Nami deck, so it's good for me when I'm playing against myself or my wife or a friend. They borrow Nami to play that. And then we have 4 Moji. It's just your standard 2k counter cross skill. Oh my god, what happened to the sleeve? Oh, there's something on it. Oh, there's just tape on it. What the heck? Unattack it there. What the heck? That was weird. Anyway, it's basically, you don't really play it for its on play. You play it for the 2k. And it's the fact that it's a cross skill and a 5k body. He basically plays the 2K blocker, from the 2-cost blocker from your deck, but we don't run that in this build. So if you wanted to, you could, but I don't really think it's that worth it, honestly. I don't think you're playing Moji half the time. You're mostly keeping for the 2K. Now, a 2K that you might actually want to play besides Von Clay is Kabaji. What is this tape? It's like staying on my finger and going back on the cards. What the heck is happening here? All right, it's gone. I flicked it across the room. There's a 2K counter called Kabaji. He's a cross guild. You might recognize Moji and Kabaji from the first season of One Piece. They have been on his crew since day one, and honestly, it's nice to see them again after all this time. Although Moji needs to hit the gym. I actually am very curious to see these two fight in the final arc and see what Oda does with them. But basically, his effect is, I've actually won games off of this thing on the sim because people just don't read cards, apparently. His effect is, if you have a Buggy or Emoji character, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. So people have swung into it, rested it, and swung into it, and apparently this didn't read the card, and they're like, and I saw someone do it twice, and I'm like, bro, it's, can't be KO'd. He quit, and I was like, okay. But then, I think it's a really funny card, especially if you want to, if they're like a green deck, you could play this down, and they actually just can't really out it that easily. Next, here's some tech cards I play for the deck. I play 2 copies of Jozu, just to be able to bounce like Mr. 3 to get some counter and bounce another card in the field. 2 Charlotte Pudding, just punish other blue decks that get a lot of hand. Those are like 2 of the tech cards I play. And then I play 2 copies of Kaya. This is getting cut for the Buggy promo, most likely going forward. The Buggy promo, if you don't know what it is, it's a 7K cross guild that on play plays another cross guild of 6 or less from your hand, and then your opponent's characters that cost 3 and 4 cannot attack. So it's really good into Doflamingo, which is one of the best decks right now, obviously. And yeah, it's also just it also can't attack though. So it's like an 8K body that can't attack that gives you another body. So it's like another crocodile in the deck, and a floodgate. So it's pretty good. So moving on, we're playing our 1-drop, Mr. 3 Galdino. He's our searcher for cross guild cards. And yeah, that is it for the characters, I believe. Now we move on to the events. I'm playing 2 copies of Gravity Blade. Again, the Doflamingo is a popular deck right now, just to get a little bit of board clearance going. This might be cut along with the Kaya. It depends on where the meta goes. I might end up dropping the Buggy by 1. I might end up dropping the Stage. It really depends on. I'm gonna do some more testing, see which race. I feel like the deck plays exactly the same, but I feel like the tech cards are what really wins you games. So I really feel like it depends on the meta. Next, we run our best turn 3. If we go first, this is what we want to do on turn 2. 4 Sanji's Pilaf. It's not old arted. I'm not spending $50 on Pilafs. I also arted the Buggy stuff. Not the Pilafs. I'm not doing it. Pilaf is too much money. But basically, it's if you played Yu-Gi-Oh, it's Pot of Greed. You pay 3 Dawn and draw 2 cards. It's trigger, draw 2 cards. There's really good advantage because we're discarding a lot of cards in our hand to free play stuff. And keep in mind, you don't want to spam Buggy skill too much. You want to do it to get some tempo going your way when you have advantage. You're better off, if you're on a 5-Dawn turn, unless you really think the body's going to stick, I would honestly just play the Daw's Bones. And then on a 7-Dawn turn, play Croc, play another Daw's Bones, and start plussing your deck. So you want to do this on turn 2. You want a Daw's Bones on turn 3. You want a Mr. Gildito on turn 1, and basically kind of get tempo. Basically keep your advantage engine going, so you don't neg too much in the late game. And yeah. And then finally, I run 2 copies of, I'm going to call it Karibari Island. That's what I remember the name as. It's basically a filter card. There's another turn 1 play you can do. It's Mr. Galdino and Hiss going second is what I normally like to do. You could maybe drop this for Buggy. But I really like this card because it lets me filter out say my whole hand is like Buggy, or I don't have the 10-drop Buggy and I really need it. I can play Galdino for 1, search. If I fail the search, I bottom deck like 2 cards in my hand, rest the stage, and I can bottom deck 2 cards and keep digging for the card I really need to see. It has actually done really good for me in testing, and I really love the stage. But it's something you can consider cutting. If you think Pudding's not good, you could probably cut that. I think Pudding's great, honestly. You don't want to cut Pudding. I think it's really just going to be it's going to be Kaya for 2 of it. And if I manage to get 4 of it, I'm going to have to debate what I want to drop. Probably Garibari Island, or maybe I drop like Mr. 1x1. I'm not sure. If you have suggestions in the comment, let them know down below. That was my buggy deck profile. It is a deck that I've really been looking forward to in One Piece. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's a perfect deck to take the locals. And I was going to go today, but apparently I was just really tired, and I slept until like 4. I went to bed at like 12 and slept till 4 in the afternoon. I don't know what happened. But I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe, and give me some suggestions down below. Ciao.